Welcome back to DevOps Genius Zone. Today we are covering how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero, and if you are working in DevOps or trying to break into the field, this is one you cannot afford to miss. Kubernetes is the container orchestration platform running at virtually every major US tech company. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know. We'll cover the core concepts, how it works under the hood, how to get started the right way, and the best practices that senior engineers use in production at real US tech companies. By the end of this video, you will have a clear, actionable understanding of how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero that you can apply immediately. I'll also share some common pitfalls and how to avoid them, plus real-world examples from companies you know. First, let us talk about why how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero matters so much right now. The US job market for DevOps engineers is stronger than ever, and companies are specifically looking for engineers who understand these tools deeply, not just on the surface. In 2025, DevOps roles in the US command salaries between $130,000 and $190,000, and that number is only going up. Knowing how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero inside and out can literally change your career trajectory. If you're preparing for a DevOps interview, expect to be tested on how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero. Recruiters are filtering for these keywords, and hiring managers want to see hands-on experience. I've heard from candidates who landed offers simply because they could discuss how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero in depth during a technical round. Here is the foundational concept you need to understand. The desired state management model means you define what you want, and the system figures out how to get there. This reconciliation loop runs continuously, comparing the actual state with your desired state and making corrections automatically. That is what makes modern DevOps systems so powerful and resilient. When you embrace this pattern, you stop manually tweaking configurations and start letting the platform maintain reliability for you. It's a mindset shift from imperative to declarative thinking, and once you get it, everything else clicks. Getting started the right way matters more than most engineers realize. Before you touch any configuration, understand your requirements. Version control everything. Use the principle of least privilege. Keep changes small and incremental. And always have a rollback plan ready before you deploy to production. I've seen so many engineers skip these steps and later regret it when they can't recover from a failed deployment. Your future self will thank you. I always tell my ments, if you can't draw the architecture on a whiteboard, you're not ready to implement it. Best practices from senior engineers are straightforward but often overlooked. Automate the repetitive work. Document your decisions, not just your configurations. Test in staging before production. Monitor everything. And when something breaks, and it will write a post-mortem and learn from it. One of the most effective habits is to always ask, can I undo this in under a minute? If the answer is no, you need a better rollback plan. I also recommend setting up a dedicated runbooks repository with step-by-step recovery procedures. The most common mistakes I see junior DevOps engineers make are skipping the planning phase, ignoring security until the end, and not handling failures gracefully. Avoid these and you are already ahead of most candidates. For example, never leave sensitive credentials in plain text, even in internal repositories. Use a secret manager or vault solution from day one. Another mistake is logging everything to standard output without a structured format. This makes troubleshooting a nightmare. I've witnessed outages prolonged for hours because the logs were unusable. Spend time on your logging strategy. Here is a real-world example from a US tech company. Teams that implement how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero properly consistently see faster deployment frequency, fewer production incidents, and smaller on-call burden. Engineers spend their time on work that matters instead of firefighting. I recall a team at a major streaming service that adopted how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero and reduced their mean time to recovery by 80%. That's the kind of impact we're talking about. Another e-commerce company cut their cloud bill by 40% after properly tuning how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero settings. Now let us dig deeper into the specifics of how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero. Whether you are on AWS, Azure, or GCP, the principles remain the same. For instance, in AWS you would use ECS or EKS for container orchestration, while in Azure you have AKS, and GCP offers GK. But regardless of the cloud provider, how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero enables you to ship features faster, recover from failures in minutes, and scale your infrastructure elastically. If you're running on premises, tools like OpenStack or VMware can integrate similarly, though the patterns remain identical. The key is understanding the abstraction layer how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero provides. Let me give you a concrete, hands-on walkthrough so you can see exactly how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero works in practice. Open up your terminal and follow along. Even if you do not have the full environment set up yet, just watching this will give you the mental model you need to succeed. I'll show you common commands, configuration snippets, and the reasoning behind each step. We'll start with the simplest possible working example and then add complexity. We start by defining our desired state. Think of this as the blueprint of what your system should look like. In the DevOps world, we write this blueprint as code, infrastructure as code, configuration files, or policy definitions. This is the single source of truth. For example, you might write a YAML file that describes how many replicas you want, which image to run, and what environment variables to set. I'll walk you through a typical manifest and explain each field. Once the blueprint is defined, the next step is to let the system reconcile the actual state with the desired state. The control loop checks every few seconds. Are the right containers running? Is the correct number of replicas active? If something drifts, the system automatically brings it back into alignment. That's the magic of Kubernetes controllers, Terraform plans, or any reconciliation engine. It's not a one-time setup, it's a continuous process that keeps your infrastructure in check. I'll demonstrate a simple drift scenario and how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero self-heals. Now, let us add monitoring on top of that. Tools like Prometheus and Grafana scrape metrics and show you dashboards. You can see request latency, error rates, and resource usage at a glance. Set alerts so you know immediately when something goes wrong, and with a well-implemented how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero setup, the system often heals itself before you even wake up. For a production system, I recommend creating 4 golden signals: latency, traffic, errors, and saturation. These give you a complete picture of system health. I'll show you how to set up a basic dashboard. Another crucial aspect is security. In the US, regulatory compliance frameworks like SOC 2, HIPAA, and PCI DSS require you to have complete visibility and control over your infrastructure. Understanding how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero helps you meet those requirements without slowing down development. Always follow the principle of least privilege, grant only the permissions absolutely necessary. Also, regularly scan your container images and runtime environments for vulnerabilities. Tools like Trivy or SNYK can be integrated directly into your CI pipeline. I'll explain how to bake security into every stage of your delivery lifecycle. Let us also talk about cost optimization. Cloud bills can spiral out of control if you are not careful. With how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero, you can set resource limits, schedule non-production environments to shut down at night, and use spot instances for fault-tolerant workloads. These simple steps can cut your cloud spend by 30 to 50%. For example, a properly configured Kubernetes cluster with horizontal pod autoscaling can automatically scale down during low traffic and save thousands per month. I've seen companies waste tens of thousands of dollars simply because they never set resource requests. The community around how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero is one of the most active in tech. There are dedicated Slack workspaces, Discord servers, local meetups, and global conferences like KubeCon, reInvent, and HashiConf. The DevOps community in the US is incredibly welcoming and always willing to help newcomers. I encourage you to join a few groups and start learning from practitioners who work at companies like Netflix, Spotify, and Airbnb. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even senior engineers rely on the community to solve tricky problems. I'll share some of my favorite resources at the end. To summarize, how to backup and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero is critical in the 2025 US DevOps job market. Start right by understanding requirements before touching configuration and version control everything. Follow best practices around least privilege, small changes, automation, and documentation. Monitor everything from day one, and always have a rollback plan. The market rewards engineers who deeply understand these concepts, not those who merely copy-paste commands. If you can demonstrate how to back up and restore Kubernetes clusters with Velero knowledge in an interview, you'll stand out immediately. If this video helped you, please smash the like button. It helps DevOps Genius Zone reach more engineers in the US who are working to level up their skills and their careers. Subscribe so you do not miss a single video. We publish brand new in-depth DevOps content every single day. Drop your questions in the comments. I personally read and respond to all of them. See you tomorrow.